have the wind at their back, which I think can be a big part in this first quarter. The team who gets the first points on the board could certainly have a big deciding factor in the outcome of this game, Dan.
Kern Sherwood set to get the boot. It's a low and won't even reach the 30. Drops just over the 30-yard line, and nothing doing right there at that point. In fact, no doubt about it, the wrong guy got a hold of that football as they open it up now. There's a 1st and 10 football on the grab there. Number 41, Dave Heineke, for the Eastern football team, and he'll bring it up just across the 30, spotted at the 33-yard line. 1st and 10, the Vikings are set to go on offense. And our first look at Pilkauskis, he's the quarterback, number 16, all set to wheel. 1st and 10, Vikes off to the left side, but nothing too much doing, maybe a couple of yards on the play for Heineke. Dave goes up across the 35.
Okay, Dan, let me set that offense for Eastern. They run out of a tight T formation. Bobby Pilkauskis will be the quarterback, 16, number 27, Ned Carrot, right half, number 41, Dave Heineke, the fullback, left halfback's number 12, Rick Sherwood, and I'll set the line after this play.
Sutherland in for Walsh in that backfield for the Vikings up to the line of scrimmage, a pickup of a couple. Give the same side, left side, a fumble on the play. I believe it's Cherokee football. A fumble right off the second play, a Cherokee pickup, and they take over possession. Number 12 with the football, Sherwood, couldn't quite find the handle. I don't believe he ever did have control of the football, Jim. But it's a 1st and 10, just short of the 40-yard line. 1st and 10 on the 38 for Cherokee.
Looked like number 85, Jimmy Glatz, coming up with the pigskin. A big break for Cherokee in the early moments of the ball game.
Drew France, 1st and 10, right side. Into that line, but nothing at all doing for number 22, John make that Diorio. So right off the top, we see the big men going for the Chiefs.
And you see the defense of Eastern really came tight on that play. They responded very well, put a stop on them just about the line of scrimmage. Good defensive effort by Eastern.
Certainly keying on Diorio, as anyone would certainly think they would. Short of the 35, 37-yard line, pickup of a pair, a 2nd down, 8 yards to go. Chiefs football on a fumble recovery. And good field position here. Just opening moments. Around the right side, swing and ride, trying to find daylight. Number 15 is Carabasi. He'll get nowhere as they string it out. A good defensive effort from the Vikings.
Okay, the offensive set for Cherokee. The backfield, number 1, the quarterback, Drew France. The fullback, number 25, John McKinnon. You have to watch out for him today. Also, number 22, the big man for Cherokee, Rob Diorio. Number 15, the other back, as we just saw him that time on the flanker, number 15, Charles Carabasi.
Carabasi picked up 1.5. It's 3rd and about 7 yards to go for the Chiefs as they're up to the line of scrimmage on the 35. Back to pass. First one of the afternoon. Nothing doing. A fumble, but recovered right back on the line of scrimmage by Drew France. A lot of pressure back there, as it was obvious to the Vikings what was in Drew France's mind. So that'll set up a 4th down.
Well, number 78, John Toplin, defensive end for Eastern, put a lot of pressure on France that time. Good coverage by the secondary. France had nobody to throw to, and of course the good pressure put on by Toplin brought him down.
4th down and 6 yards to go. The ball is on the 35, and this will be a boot coming from number 12, Sherwood. He'll be standing back on the 20-yard line to kick to Rich Howie. Make that Rich Howie that's booting. He'll stand back on the 30-yard line.
Nobody's back for Eastern. They expected to fake all the way.
And they weren't disappointed.
Good
but the Vikings came through on defense and nothing at all there. So the Vikings have played seesaw here, and they've got the ball, and we're right in one part of the football field.
Number 44, Chip Crone, for Eastern, came up, made a fine tackle. Chip was the starting fullback the last time we saw this team against Highland. And talking to John Batchelor, the coach of Eastern, this week, Crone was injured, and in stepped his replacement and just hung in there and played so well. They're going to alternate him along with Dave Heineke today.
There you see Pilkauskis, number 16, who obviously didn't have in mind what the head coach John Batchelor had in mind. So he's going to come to the sidelines to discuss it and thought better of going ahead with a play that he wasn't too sure of.
Chip Crone's going onto the field now, and I'm sure we'll see Dave Heineke come out. There's a shot of John Batchelor. Setting the offensive line for Eastern, number 14, Timmy Walsh, the tight end. On the right side, we saw him have a good game against Highland. Number 78, the right tackle, John Toplin. Number 79, the right guard, John Doobie. At center, number 51, John Schmooze. At left guard, number 63, Steve Pastor. The left tackle, number 75, Mike LeBlanc. And the other tight end at the left side, Steve Simone, number 83. And we'll set that defensive unit of Cherokee after this play.
8:48 remains first quarter here in Cherokee, and a semifinal workout between Cherokee and the Vikings. They have the ball, 1st and 10 on the 35-yard line. Given to the center of the line goes for naught. Not much real estate gathered there. Unpeeling on the bottom of the pile, number 44 with a football for Eastern is Chip Crone. Chip will pick up good 3 yards on the play. Across the 35, they'll spot it at the 37.
Cherokee runs a 44-type defense, and their front four are their ends, number 83, Bob Edgerly, and number 45, Darry Green. The guards, number 44, Jim Casey, and 77, Wally Spargo, one of the co-captains.
2nd and 7. Polkowski's going to eat football and get away with it across the 40-yard line, and a little shy of the 45 as he's hauled down at that point, but I believe he's close to a first down.
Very important where they spot the ball. He's going to be about a yard short, Dan.
Either a busted play or it was meant to go that way all the way, as Polkowski's off the left side and picked up about 4 yards. Let's take another look.
You'll see Polkowskis. He's a fine runner, good balance, good strength, a big football player.
Short by a yard, 3rd and 1. Polkowskis over the left side. Good head work and good second effort as the first down is gotten, and off the bottom of the pile, number 12 with the football is Rick Sherwood. Good run. Probably the biggest pickup of the afternoon so far.
Linebackers for Cherokee. The outside linebackers, 37, Jim Glantz. Number 25, John McKenna. The inside linebackers, number 55, Alan Mattioni. And number 56, Bob LaCassale.
Wide to the right side for Eastern is Henry Klein as we go on first down from the middle of the field to 50. Nothing at all doing at that point. Good heads-up defense for Cherokee's Chiefs as they negate the play and bring Polkowskis to his knees. Right on top of his back, number 44. On the play, Crone.
Number 77 for Cherokee, Wally Spargo in on the stop. The secondary, the three deep safeties for Cherokee, number 81, Glenn Malos. Number 20, Eric Kessler. And deep in the middle, number 12, Rich Howie.
Loss of a yard on the play will make it 2nd and 11. A yard short of the 50-yard marker. Polkowskis up the middle again. He goes into the center of the line, but the defense gobbles up the runner for no, if nothing, maybe a yard gain as number 12 unpeels, Rick Sherwood.
Looked like the defense of Cherokee was a little shaky in the opening plays there, but they pulled together on the last few, and they're not giving up anything.
Walsh comes out. He'll be replaced on the field by Tony Sindoni.
Tony Sindoni will be the wide receiver. You'll see him flank to the bottom, and we could see a pass play coming up here.
3rd and 10 right at the 50-yard line. No, it isn't. Oh, a bobbled play back there for number 27, Ned Kerr, on a pitch back from quarterback Polkowskis. Couldn't quite find the handle, but did have presence of mind to flop on the pigskin.
Dan, it looked to me like they were going to have a quick kick on 3rd down that time. It looked like Polkowskis was just pitching back, and we're going to see a punt, but seemed like he was over anxious to punt, did not wait until he had the ball in his grasp, and consequently fumbled and lost yardage.
Well, no doubt about it now. Standing back there to do the booting for Eastern is Ned Kerr up on his 30-yard line. And on the other end of this boot, moving back, way back, number 15 is Carabasi, but it'll be down near the goal line. An outstanding boot and good field position now for the Vikings at least. The Chiefs have a long way to go in 1st and 10.
I believe the ball spotted on the 10-yard line, Dan. It's tough from this angle.
Well, it is on the 10-yard line, 1st and 10, and that's the first time this afternoon it's been that far down. 5:30 remaining in the first quarter. No score, in case you just joined us, here in Marlton, the home of the Cherokee Chiefs. 1st and 10 from their 10, and Drew Franz calls signals. Here comes a snap and a hanky on the play as we go right up the middle. But a flag is down as off the bottom of the pile, number 22, Diorio. Trying to work the middle of that Viking defense. Picked up maybe a yard or so. Nothing more.
Well, you're going to see a lot of Diorio out there today. They're going to have to stop him. And if they can't, it's going to be Cherokee's game. Coach Jim Horner talking to him before the game. He's going to give it to the man who can carry the ball. And so far this year, he's been the number one man. Of course, 116 points on the season. That's a lot of football for a young man.
Well, too much motion there by the Chiefs. A little apprehensive getting off that football. That'll bring it back almost on the goal line. And the down remains at first, but a 15-yard situation. Back to the 5, 1st and 15 for the Chiefs. We'll set up that offensive line as we get back to play here. This is number 1, France. France again goes to the middle of the line, and once again, this time number 25 is called, McKenna. And Johnny makes it out a little bit more breathing room, maybe about a 7-yard pickup.
Okay, McKenna, he's the one who's going to call on alternately with DiOrio. Give DiOrio probably 65% of the times and give the rest to McKenna the way things have been looking this year. The offensive line for Cherokee, 87, Darryl Strong's at tight end, 65, Joe Ritchie is the right tackle, 62, Mike Macarella is the right guard, and I'll pick up the rest after this play, Dan.
Cooper wide left side on third down and from the 12-yard line. Mix up in the backfield, but nothing doing. Little sloppy on the handwork there, as nothing at all that Franz could do but just feed the football quickly to, once again, number 25, McKenna. Johnny had nowhere to go, so it will be a third down and about 6 yards to go for the first.
Centering the offensive line is number 52, Tom Albert, number 64, the left guard, Keith Lutkin, and number 72, the left tackle, Steve Carbone.
Third down and 5 from the 15, and Franz has got to come up with a good idea here. He's going to pitch it out right side. Little room there, trying to find daylight, but nothing doing. DiOrio possibly close enough for the first down. I think we'll measure. He needed to come out close to the 20-yard line to make this one work.
First down, I believe they're giving it to him. There it is.
Good bit of offensive work back there on a couple of DiOrio teaming up with number 25, McKenna, to move it out deep in their own end zone.
The split ends for Cherokee. They'll be running two, number 82, Kip Collick, and number 86, Tom Cooper, and they'll be carrying the plays in and out.
All right, it's a first down now for the Chiefs. No score here in the first quarter. We're getting late in the first quarter. This is Franz at quarter. He hands to the right side again. DiOrio, pair of deuces, gets the call, and not much real estate on that play.
Stripped up by Chip Crone on the other side, the linebacker for Eastern. The Eastern defense runs a 52 type. Their front five ends 78 John Toplin and 51 John Schmooze. Their tackles, number 72 is Billy Dieterdink and number 79 John Doobie. The middle guard, number 34 Jeff Sutherland.
2:50 remaining first quarter play. Nothing doing on the scoreboard for either club. Ball on the 25-yard line, and the situation 2nd and 7. France gives left side with the ball. Number 25, McKenna. Can't cut down very far and is nailed short of the 30-yard line. Little shy, perhaps, of the first down.
Secondary for Eastern, the linebackers, number 66, Vic Picarello, number 44, Chip Crone. The corners, number 45, John McMenamin, and number 22, Tom Crowley. And their safeties, number 12, Ricky Sherwood, 16, Bob Pilkowskis.
Chiefs have done a lot of work back here. They were starting this back on their, actually, in essence, their 5-yard line. They're now to the 29. A yard and a half to pick up for the first down. Let's see what they can do on third. Once again, the man with the mail, number 22, carrying that leather like a piece of loaf of bread there, but the DiOrio is close. The ball will be on the 30. Let's see where they put the chain gang. They got a first down out of it. A lot of blankets in evidence here this afternoon, Jim, on a rather chilly afternoon.
Jeff Sutherland.
Take a look at the DiOrio run.
Jeff Sutherland, the middle guard for Eastern, makes a fine recovery coming back to make the stop. Good effort by Jeff Sutherland.
Tough man to bring down, DiOrio. From the 30-yard line. First down. Once again, right side as they're picking on the right side of the line. And the defense responding for the Vikings short of the 40-yard line and off the bottom, McKenna.
And remember, Cherokee has the wind at their back right now, and they've been running the ball. They've ran nothing but running plays. Good time to go up in the air, as Eastern will probably start taking that initial step forward to stop the run. Be an excellent time, a little play-action pass.
Wide left is Cooper for the Chiefs as they come up on 2nd and 6. Right side again, still no aerials here this afternoon. We're working around the 40-yard line. Still short of the first down, a couple of yards picked up on the last run by McKenna.
Good stop by number 51, John Schmooze, defensive end for Eastern. A big point that could have some factor in the outcome of this game today, Dan, is Eastern runs approximately 8 players both ways, where Cherokee will only run one player both ways. It's almost a total platoon system that Cherokee uses. That could be a big difference in the latter part of the ball game.
3rd and 5 now for the Cherokee Chiefs. No score. Time running out here in the first quarter. We're going to see our second pass of the afternoon. No, we're not. As Franz elects to run the football, a flag of the play as he gains very little, if any, yardage at all.
Flag usually in that position on the field is usually going to be an offensive holding or an illegal block. Let's see.
Hey, you're going to look at it. It's against Cherokee. And they're walking back. They actually started this drive back on their 5-yard line and have managed to bring it out close to the 40, but that, I believe, will now be negated by a penalty.
See Bob Pilkowskis, number 16, talking to the officials. Here comes a replay. You'll see the flag go down late. Right there, I think it was an illegal block, almost a clip. Let's see what they call.
There's the head coach standing over there for the Chiefs, Jim Horner. This is a big walk-off against the Chiefs, coming way back. Looks like the 20-yard line. Big step off against the Cherokee Chiefs.
Illegal block is what the call was. Jim Horner, of course, been coaching over here at Cherokee since '75, but before that spent many fine years at Haddon Heights in the Colonial Conference.
Third down and 20, and I think we'll see one of our first passes of the afternoon, Jim. Up to the line of scrimmage come the Chiefs. Number 1, Drew Franz, a junior this year, at quarter for the Cherokee Chiefs.
I believe the quarter had expired, Dan.
It certainly has. As we talk, the quarter runs out, and after one full quarter of football, Cherokee football team nothing, Eastern Vikings nothing. We'll be back with this afternoon of football at NYT Cable after this timeout. Final playoff in Group 3 between Cherokee's Chiefs and the Vikings of Eastern. First play negotiated while you were away. It was a toss, a little screen pass, flipped out to the left side. A flag ensued. So you now see the clubs. There's the Cherokee Chiefs walking back. Once again, penalty trouble for the Cherokee Chiefs.
Again, I believe it's either going to be a holding or an illegal block. And these penalties are really tough. They can really hurt you. We saw Eastern and Highland play. We saw Highland really get in trouble with the penalties, and the same thing seems to be happening in Cherokee in early goings here. Of course, that's a 15-yard penalty for the holding. Plus, it negated probably a gain of 5, so you're talking 20 yards on that one play they lost, Dan.
Well, it's a third down now, Jim, from the 10-yard line. They'll have to move up to the 45 to get a first down. So a lot of real estate here. This started on the 5-yard line at the other end of the field. Third down, and we're ready to go. Pitch back it goes. DeOrio with a football, but absolutely nothing. They are really keying on Mr. 22, just across the 10-yard line.
The defense of the Vikings doing a fine job. They're reacting very quickly, coming up, meeting Mr. DeOrio at the line of scrimmage, virtually holding him to very little yardage so far in this ballgame.
Now look at this situation, if you will. Standing back at the 45-yard line to receive this boot, number 16, Polkoskis, back there with Crowley. He and Tom are standing back into the wind. It will be kicked by number 12, Rich Howie. He'll stand in his end zone.
No, he doesn't want to get this ball up in the air too high for the wind to hold it up. He'd like to have a line drive kick with some roll to it.
Got to be a good situation as they're going to throw it up in the air. It's going to be picked off Polkoskis, 45 to the 40, making his way down close to the 35-yard line on a good return on an equally good boot.
Well, excellent field position right here for Eastern. And remember, the Eastern punt is really what set this field position up. Cherokee let the ball rolled all the way down to the 10-yard line. They could not bring it out, and consequently they turned around. Cherokee had the punt into the wind right there, and Polkoskis made a nice run back, almost broke that last tackle.
Big man. Now he's at quarterback, 1st and 10 from the 36. Into the line they go, but nothing doing. A whole herd of Cherokee Chiefs in on the runner, and number 41 will not get too much. Heineke.
Well, this Cherokee defense is going to be called on today to really do a job. He set the front line of that defense, and
now on
4-4 type defense, the linebackers really react quickly, came up and met Heineke that time on a fine defensive effort.
Heineke out of the ball game now, and this is Polkoskis to the right side. Little daylight there, but a few yards for Crone as he'll get it up close to the 30-yard line. In fact, they'll spot it right on the 30. Still shy of the first down, but excellent field position as the Vikings now are starting to negotiate some good logistic football.
Give number 56, Bob Lucaselle, credit for the stop. He's the inside linebacker to that side.
Third down, about 3.5 yards to go for the Vikings. And Jim, we might also mention we had some conversation before game time this afternoon with head coach Jim Horner. His club's 8-0, and he mentioned midway through the season a slight letdown by the Chiefs.
Well, of course, that slight letdown, we televised that game, was against Willingboro, and they found themselves battling back to win that ball game, but it was a tough situation. And, of course, both these teams, Eastern really had the letdown towards the middle of the year, but you'd much rather have that letdown then than into the playoffs. And both of these teams are out here today playing good football. As I said last night on the show, it's the toss-up. This game could go either way.
Well, all things being equal, you'd almost have to give the slight edge, if nothing more, than the old home field advantage, if that means anything in playoff football.
Well, of course, Cherokee with the 8-0 record, they have the home field, their top seed. That means a lot. But on the other hand, the psych part of football, that can get into the players' heads too, thinking that this is only the first round. They're the bottom seed, we're the top seed, we're going to win this ball game. Now they find themselves in a desperate position right here.
Well, they might add no score yet, 9:51 in the first half, and it's a third situation.
Fumble.
A bobble in the backfield, but it is picked up
Flag
by
down.
a flag on the play. A bobble back there, and perhaps a little chilly down there, but maybe not that chilly. Polkoska saved it for his club as he hopped on top of the pigskin, and it will be marked at the 28. Let's see what the flag's for.
This will, again, be a holding or an illegal block. But Polkoska showed something right there. He's probably one of the few high school football players who could do that, pick the ball up off the ground like he does and try to advance it. Very difficult thing for any player to do, but Polkoska is such a fine athlete, able to do it, tuck it away, and hold on to the football.
Well, a few moments ago, as the quarter ran out, quarter number 1, it seemed as though the Cherokee Chiefs were taking one step forward and 3 backward, starting at their 5, moving out to about the 40, then going the opposite direction via the penalty route. Now that curse could come to haunt the Vikings, who were doing so well a moment ago.
All right, I believe right here, we'll see Polkoskis put it up in the air, and I would look for number 14, the big tight end on the right side, to be the receiver, Timmy Walsh.
Well, Sandowich will work the left side, number 81. Polkoska's yet to air it out here this afternoon. However, he does have the wind at his back, and there you see the huddle, working out the one that'll put it, hopefully, in the end zone.
Dan, on a passing situation, you'll see Sandowich come in like he is. He'll flank. He'll go out as a split end on the left side. Walsh will be the right tight end, and I think we're going to see a pass here.
Timmy Walsh, there he is, rolling to his left. Polkoska's going to carry across the 40. A good jump there, but knocked out of bounds across the 35-yard line. Good move from Polkoskis. Not afraid to carry the mail, Jim.
All right, we're going to bring up a 4th and long here. I don't know. We may see a field goal attempt with this wind blowing the way it is. I don't know. Let's
well,
see.
they've got plenty up. Here comes the kicking team on.
Remember, Ned Kerr handles the plays kicking and the punting.
Look at this effort from the quarterback.
As he goes up in the air like that, that's when coaches hold their breath because injuries can sure come up.
Boy, you're wide open there. Well, standing back now to do the booting, hopefully, number 27 is back there, Neddy Kerr, and Ned's going to boot it. There you go. Didn't know whether he wanted to go for the corner or what, but he finally fields it from the 40. It'll bounce across the 15. The far side of the field be down to the 14, and that's where the Cherokee Chiefs will take over. 1st and 10 with 9:20 on the first half clock and no score.
Well, Eastern wants to hold Cherokee as deep as possible, and they've been doing a fine job of it so far. That kick, not a real long kick, but put him down at the 14-yard line. That's not a good place to be on a football field, especially in a playoff situation.
I would say the Chiefs would have to breathe a sigh of relief also, Jim, because they had their backs against the wall there for a while. 1st and 10, 14-yard line. This is France. Give up the middle. Nothing doing. A yard or two on the play, and that's all she wrote as the defense from the Vikes responds to Diorio.
Give credit to that front 5 of the Vikings that time, closing everything off and making a fine stop.
Well, when they spot it across the 15, it'll be a pickup of 3. 2nd and 7 at the 18-yard line. Wide right side for Cherokee, number 15, Carabasi. Right side, Diorio. Hull finds daylight across the 20. Found him nailed, but short of the first down. That'll bring up a 3rd and 2 on the play, and the Chiefs now with an opportunity to keep the drive alive. Personnel changes, obviously. Head mentor Jim Horner bringing in some instructions.
As I mentioned earlier in the game, the wide receivers will carry the plays in. 82, Kip Collick, and 86, Tom Cooper's in the game now.
3rd down, an important play for the Chiefs in a scoreless contest. Diorio again, the call to the left side. I believe he's got the first down and then some. Good run across the 25.
Well, DiOrio is certainly showing what he can do. He's good up the middle with the strength run, and also we haven't seen too much yet on his breakaway speed, and that's only due to the good defensive effort that Eastern's putting on out there today. But he's a good football player. Everybody knew he was getting the ball, and yet they still couldn't stop him before he picked up the first down.
Seems to sandwich his way through the little holes and make the daylight and get those couple of yards on every carry. First down, Chiefs football, 26. This time the ball goes into the hands of number 25, John McKenna. The senior brings it for maybe a yard, not much more.
Okay, give credit to Jeff Sutherland, 34, the middle guard for Eastern. 79, John Doobie, the tackle, and 78, John Toplin, the defensive end on that side, for just closing that hole off so rapidly and putting them down at the line of scrimmage.
Well, Jim, we have momentary time out there by the official. Just wanted to mention some exciting football today around the area. Haddon Township looking for the big win against North Burlington, and of course the Paul Six encounter, which is all history at this point.
And Audubon going down to Glassboro.
Outstanding afternoon here in the Delaware Valley. Pitch back, right side, DiOrio trying to look for room. Cuts downfield, a flag of the play as he's dropped short of the 30-yard line.
All right, again, it's either going to be a holding or an illegal block. Bobby Polkowskis playing in an inverted safety that time, which means he comes up into a cornerback's position almost. He came through and almost brought DiOrio down in the backfield, and that could have been the block on him, which cost the penalty.
Obviously, the Chiefs aware it must be against them. They're moving back again, and here we go with a 1 forward, 3 backward theory. And you know, just watching DiOrio run.
Here it comes. You see Polkowskis break through there right there. Almost almost put DiOrio down right away. But illegal block, 15 yards again. Penalty, such a big problem in football. And Cherokee's really feeling it right now.
You know, you watch this kid DiOrio run, Jim, and there's no doubt about it. He's quite a threat coming out of that backfield. And the way he skates around back there, maybe if you're a blocker, you don't know where he is half the time. He's just trying to follow anybody that can maybe get to him.
Well, he's fast, and he's got good balance. He's just a superb athlete.
Situation, 2nd and 20. The ball just across the 10-yard line. Chiefs football, deep in their own end. We can't seem to get it to the middle. Here's the guy with the mail again, number 22. Short of the 20 is DiOrio. He's dumped to the 19, well short of the first down, but they'll get another opportunity. It's at 2nd down and about 16 yards to go.
And this wind just is not letting up today. The wind's picking up more, if anything, throughout the course of this game, and I believe it's getting colder out there. Snow flurries were forecast for this afternoon. I would not doubt to see them.
Drew Franz will be throwing into the wind should he elect to go to the air, and no one really has thought much about it this afternoon. 3rd and 16. Here it goes again into Mr. DiOrio, but he'll be dumped to the 20, maybe a 1-yard pickup, and that's all she wrote.
There was a little delay, almost a draw play to DiOrio, trying to set up the illusion of a pass play coming up. Did not fool Eastern. They played it very well. And again, Cherokee will have to punt into this strong wind.
Polkowskis will step back to the 50-yard line, possibly a little deeper. They know they got the wind in the face of the kicker. And back there with him is Rick Kerr. Standing back on his own 5-yard line is Howie.
Eastern looks like they're ready to block.
Here it comes. Nobody coming. A low boot. Wind really holds it up, but finally gathered in at that point by Kerr. He goes to the sideline, an excellent field position once again for the Vikings. So we're playing, in essence, within 20 yards of this football field.
Well, of course, this wind situation today is going to cause that, and good coaching by John Batcher that last time. Rather than attempt a long field goal, even though the wind was with you, try to put them deep and make them come out.
1st and 10 for the Vikings at the 35. Polkowskis carries, makes room to the 30. Finally picked up there and had everyone fooled for that brief second. The big youngster fell to the 30-yard line, a good 5-yard pickup.
That looked very similar to the old Delaware wing tee belly ride type of a play where a quarterback will put it in the fullback's gut and ride him right through the line, and depending on how they come through that line, either gives to the fullback or takes it himself. And in that case, Polkowskis kept it himself, picked up some nice yardage.
Polkowskis playing his year out this year, his last year in high school at Eastern, and an excellent athlete. 2nd down, 5 yards. Polkowskis up the middle and some room. There's some good yardage picked up down there by Henneke for the first down, I believe.
We have to give credit to that offensive front line of Eastern on this series. They're blocking very well. The guard, Steve Pastor and John Doobie, center John Schmooze, the tackles, Mike LeBlanc and John Toplin.
Well, it's seat squirm time here for the folks from Cherokee, as their team is backed up now to the 23-yard line, and time is 4:21 in the ball game's first half. 4:21 in the first half, nothing as a timeout is called. To probably compare wristwatches here as the guys in the stripes get the official on the clock. Playing it right within the 20-yard lines here.
Dan, as we mentioned at the beginning of the show today, Cherokee has won the Burlington County Liberty Division Championship. Eastern needs to win Thanksgiving to take control of the Olympic National Division. They'll be coming up against an Overbrook team with Coach Muriello down there, still looking for his 100th win this year. They have 4 of them. They need one more win that'll give it to them, but that's the case for them right now. They would love to win their conference and win Group 3 also. Cherokee, of course, wants to win the Group 3. This is Cherokee's 4th appearance in the playoffs, Eastern's 5th appearance. So Eastern has been here a few more times, but as we mentioned, Cherokee did beat Eastern the last time when they were top seeded. Eastern was top seeded. Cherokee went over to Eastern High School and beat them. Eastern would love to defeat Cherokee here on their home turf.
Well, here's the setup now. 1st and 10. Cherokee's got to dig in here on the 23, and immediately a flag as they go right into the center of the line, but very little there as they'll unpeel, and just probably some movement there, and it is against the Vikings. So we're heading it now the other direction. These teams can't seem to get close enough to do much. All around the edge of a beautifully landscaped facility here at Cherokee and Marlton. A beautiful landscaped athletic facility by way of football fields, baseball, softball, soccer, you name it, well groomed. And all around this stadium this afternoon, we have folks bundled up in the old blankets. It's that kind of weather. I think it's referred to as football weather, isn't it?
Cold.
Cold. First down.
Uh-oh.
Let's see, there is a mix-up, a fumble in the play. Let's see who gathers up the pigskin. Well, it's Polkowskis off the bottom, so once again, a little bit stingy down there on the defense. However, can't seem to find the handle for the offense.
Did look like a busted play. Either that or Polkowskis just hesitated for a second before he pitched the ball and decided he better hold on to it.
2 successive plays are costing the Vikings yardage. Let's take a look.
Okay, you see right there, the defensive line of Cherokee really broke through there awfully fast.
Second down from the 30, and Polkowskis once again will have to keep the football, and he'll get close to the 25. In fact, they will spot it on the 25. They've got now a second and about 11, 12 yards to go. Right on the 25-yard line, spot it and make it a 3rd down. As you take a look at the head coach across the field, Jim Horner, his club 8-0. That's him in the middle there, pacing the sideline. Jim's seen his defense come through thus far this afternoon. Nothing ball game. 25-yard line, 3rd down. Here comes Polkowskis, left side. He's carrying the pigskin and across the 20. And a leaping tackle there. The big fella goes down.
Fumble, and it looks like Cherokee came up with the ball. Let's say, or the penalty's going to go against Eastern. Let's put it that way. Okay, and that's a shame because that would put them with a nice 4th and 4 situation, but it's going to put them back.
Well, let's also mention, though, that we'll still have the 3rd down, but we'll have the wind at our backs, say the Vikings, and an opportunity at least maybe to tack something on before the half. 3:06 remains in the first half. Another look.
Here's another one. Polkowskis just reckless abandon the way he runs and jumps up in the air. When it's a situation where a player can really get injured, but unfortunately a penalty came up and is going to put him back. Crone checks in, Henneke comes out, and Walsh is going to come in. So I think we may see a pass play coming up here.
Well, that'll make it back to the 37-yard line. 3rd down and real estate to go. Polkowskis airs it out. Right into the hands, and an excellent grab down there for Eastern. Number 14, Timmy Walsh. Good grab down to the 22-yard line.
Well, we saw Tim Walsh again against the Highland team. And he can concentrate on the ball very well. He has good hands, and remember, he's also the backup quarterback.
Boy, that football stick to that man's hands, Jim. Excellent pass and a good grab. Watch it.
Threw it right to him. Good hands, and that ball's hard to catch out there because it is cold.
Well, that chewed up about 20 yards right in one fell swoop there. But it still is 4th now on 21, make it on the 21. So now some guessing time. What do we do here?
On the sideline, you see John Batchelor conferring with his quarterback, and on the other side of the field, Jim Horner elects to go out to the huddle with his defense and try to talk to them and settle them down.
He looks like he's got a lot to say out there, Jim. Jim Horner, that is. He's really letting the guys know where it's coming from. 4th down is a situation, about 7 yards to go. The Vikings would have to get to the 13 in order to get a first down. They're now situated on the 21. Do we kick or do we go for it? At any rate, they're going to have the Chiefs deep in their own end. Time 2:32 in this first half. Nothing, and it's been that kind of a ball game. Kind of game we more or less expected. Vikings 6-1-1. The Chiefs yet to be defeated this year, 8-0. Well, they're going for it. Interesting call. Let's see what it develops. 21-yard line. Back to pass. Bulkowskis looks. The left-hander airs it out. Almost intercepted and broken up. No flag on the play. Good defense down there intended on the play. Getting up off the turf at the present time. An excellent try, by the way, for number 82, Klein, Henry Klein. Good defense. There you see 81 walking off the field. That's Mellows, Glenn Mellows. Excellent defense. Let's take a look.
Excellent defensive effort by Cherokee right here. The man comes up, plays it very well, hits the man at the same time the ball gets here, and it's very tough to catch a football that way. Good defensive play by Cherokee.
While the Vikings still have them deep in their own end, and Cherokee takes over 1st and 10. DeOrio football from the 21. Short of the 30-yard line and a good sidestepping run by the senior from Cherokee.
And you see DeOrio runs very similar to guys like Wilbert Montgomery and Tony Dorsett of Dallas. He just needs to slice his way through the line. He does not need some big holes. He just goes up there. Any little bit of daylight he sees, he'll find it and pick up yardage.
Excellent runner. And DeOrio moves his club up to short of the 30 to the 29. 2nd and about 1.5 yards. Franz with signals. Number 1 hands to the left side with a football. Coming around the left side is McKenna. McKenna for the first down, a little shy of the 35, but a good run. First down, Cherokee. So the Chiefs immediately moving it right out from the 30-yard line. Make that the 20. They moved it out to the 33-yard line. 1st and 10 for the Chiefs. With 1:39 remaining in the first half. No score in this one. Franz, this guy, DeOrio's number is called. Number 22 stretches it out to the 37-yard line.
Of course, this is some of the best field positions Cherokee's had since early in the first period, and it can change their offense around. They can open it up a little bit more now, and I think you're going to see DeOrio break a couple nice runs here.
Clock is running, and of course it's been a fast first half with not too many passes thrown. 1:15 remaining. Franz, number 15 with a football, gets very little.
Carabasi was lined up at a slot formation that time. A little inside reverse to the wingback, actually, is what it was, and Eastern read it all the way and put him down.
Under a minute remaining now, and with the wind in his face, it will be interesting to see if Drew Franz got the word from head coach Horner to go with it, to throw it. Let's see what happens. 3rd and 6 yards to go. Franz is going to keep it on the ground. DeOrio gets the call after he snatched his fumble, but they're not going to call it.
Well, John Toplin, number 78, made a nice stop on DeOrio that time. Unassisted tackle, that's the kind any defensive player really loves to make, and especially when you can make it against a guy like Rob DeOrio.
Well, time is called with 28 seconds on the clock. This afternoon from Marlton, this is the semifinal get-together in Group 3. Cherokee 8-0, Vikings from Eastern 6-1-1.
Well, Eastern calls a timeout. They want to force Cherokee to punt the ball. They want the ball back one more time before this half expires.
And they will have the wind at their back should they get the football. And probably not a bad kick will go into the wind. It's 4th and 7 yards to go. The ball is spotted at the 37-yard line of Cherokee. On the background, you'll pick up the strains of the marching band from not only Eastern, but Cherokee, and should be an interesting halftime musical get-together for you, so we'd like you to stick around for that. And, of course, the conclusion of the game, hopefully, we'll be speaking with either Mr. Batchelor or Mr. Horner. Jim Powell will. Standing back to receive the boot back there is Crowley. Crowley with Wolkoskis. They'll stand back at the 40-yard line, not expecting too much. However, they're showing, well, let's see where we're going here. They're going to hold that football. Franz going to hand off DeOrio, nothing doing. A timeout immediately called as Diorio is snatched back of the line of scrimmage. So it's a 1st and 10, and the theory behind that, Jim.
Well, I guess Jim Horner, the coach of Cherokee, did not want to take the chance of putting the ball up in the air on a punt. He figures his defense has been playing very well. Why take the risk of a big run back by Eastern is what his thoughts were there.
17 seconds to go. Polkoskis airing it out to the sidelines. Intended down there for 81. Sandowich, there you get a look at Polkoskis, number 16. Not a bad pass. It did stop the clock.
Well, John McKenna, number 25 for Cherokee, was almost the closest man to the ball. Had he picked it off, he would have had clear sailings up the sideline. Dangerous pass at this point of the ball game.
Sandowich down about the 35. Well, the clock is stopped with 13 on the seconds within the incompletion, so it's a 2nd 10 from the 37. Back to pass. Polkoskis, left-hander, way downfield. Someone's under it. Nothing doing, but an almost impossible.
Sandowich almost.
Sandowich should have had it, Jim. I got to tell you.
I tell you, number 12, Rich Howey, did a fine job distracting Sandowich a little bit. As he went up for the ball, it took Sandoni's concentration off the ball a bit, and did a fine job defense. That's almost a defensive play that you want to take the man's concentration off the ball and hope that he misses it. Of course, makes Rich Howey feel awfully well right now.
Obviously, you hit the nail on the head, Jim. Good defensive effort because Sandowich seemed to have the man beaten. Was in the end zone with the football and just couldn't corral it. Well, that'll stop the clock with 6 ticks left. Back again. We're going to run it this time and just figure the heck with it. 2-1, and I believe that'll be the first half. It is. As we get triple zeroed across the top of the board, there you see the guys unpeeling. That's the end of one half of football. After one half, it's Cherokee zip. 7 getting set to place the ball on the kick stand. That's Ned Kerr. And the junior from Eastern, the Vikings, will be kicking. There you see the principals at the other end. Number 22, Diorio. Quite an athlete, standing back on the 10-yard line. And back there with him across the field, number 15, ready to receive the boot for the Cherokee squad is Carabasi. We're all set to go as we welcome you back to half number 2 of a football game in Group 3, the semifinals, Cherokee and Eastern. The kick from Kerr. Coming into the arms, Diorio from the 15, 20, 25 to the 30, across the 35 to the 38-yard line, and a good start for the Cherokee Chiefs. Will take it over, 1st and 10 from the 37-yard line.
And number 27, Ned Kerr, actually making the stop on Diorio. He's a safety man. He was last man, and he got up there, put the stop on him. Good play by Kerr.
Drew France, along with John McKenna, Diorio, and Carabasi will start it off wide right side. Goes number 15 of the Chiefs, Carabasi. Going to have the referee step in now.
Flag went down.
Offsides immediately against the Vikings.
Okay, it's going to be encroachment. They just lined up in the neutral zone. And I'm sure a lot of times the officials will be warning these people to move back, and after they don't move back on a couple plays, they will drop that flag for the encroachment.
Guaranteed not to make Mr. John Batchelor, the head coach at Eastern, very happy. Right off the top, Cherokee, without any effort, gets a 1st and 5, 5-yard pickup. Ball settling just across the 40-yard line. France dealing. Diorio with a football right into the right side of the line, nothing doing.
That defensive unit of Eastern still doing a fine job converging down on the point of attack and closing it off. An excellent job by the defense of Eastern. The crowd seems to have quieted down this half, Dan.
Well, Koskis most notable on that tackle too, Jim, quarterback for the Eastern Vikings on defense now. So it's a 2nd and 4 yards to go. Some mumbling here on the Vikings side of the football field as we're set to go with a 2nd down. 2nd and 4 from the 42. Cherokee ball, pitch back to Diorio, left side, stringing it out.
Good.
Nothing doing. Some good heads-up play.
Fumble,
and I believe
too.
a fumble on the play. Let's see. Diorio had it, then lost it.
Let's see who they're going to give the ball to.
Still waiting on the call.
John McMenamin, the linebacker, did a fine job stringing it out and making the tackle on Diorio. And then the ball went out. Let's see exactly what they're going to call.
Well, they're going to have to debate whether Diorio was down. Indeed, I believe the Vikings will not get the football. If any indication by several of the Viking players.
And a big break for Cherokee that time. There's a shot of, here's a replay. You'll see number 45 string it out, pull him down, and the ball went out.
You have to also note the way he was carrying that pigskin that time, Jim. Carrying it in one hand and swinging it around back there, and just as he went down trying to tuck it under, but
There is a flag down on the field also, and it looks like it's a penalty going to be called against Eastern.
Still a discussion down on the 40 with the captains. Cherokee's number 64 standing down there is Luchin.
I'm sure the Eastern coaching staff's not going to be thrilled about this call. It's very strange to see a defensive penalty called at that point.
Jim Horner, the coach along the sideline there, hollering in his 2 cents worth. In there for the Vikings, captain for the Vikings team, number 51, Schmooze. Now they're going to bring it back. Let's see, it's from the 42. It will be against the Vikings. So not only does Cherokee keep the football after it looked like it could have been a fumble, but they're going to get some real estate out of it.
15 yards. Let's see what the call's going to be.
And some fans are making some noise here from Eastern. They don't like the call.
John Batchelor was just talking to one of the officials, and I'm sure he didn't like the call either. And there is still a discussion on the field.
Let's see if we'll get the play off. The ball has been marched now deep into Viking territory, and
face mask being charged against Eastern, and
that's the call.
Boy, I tell you, we saw that on the replay. Of course, his back was to us. I thought McMenamin did a fine job in tackling him, but I guess he had his face mask.
First and 10, 42-yard line. The Cherokee Chiefs with the football. Just opening moments of quarter 3. DiOrio up the middle, blasts through that defense from the Vikings and picks up several yards on that carry.
Now we're going to see the character of the Eastern defense, see if they can regroup and get back together and start knocking DiOrio and the rest of the Cherokee Chiefs back. The big momentum can really swing for Cherokee at this point. A big play like that. They had the momentum going for them. They picked up a lot of yardage. The first time they're deep in the opponent's territory. It's going to be hard to stop.
35-yard line, the scene of the action now for the Chiefs in Viking territory. Second down. Once again, number 22 with a call dives into the right side for a couple more. Short of the first down, however. Very close. About a yard shy, third down and 1. Ball just across the 35. Put it at the 34-yard line. The Chiefs probably with the best opportunity of the afternoon right here. Look at the offense of the linemen along the sidelines for the Vikings. Their defense has got their job cut out for them. Third down, yard and a half to go. Franz with signals. Once again, right side with the football. Who else? Off the bottom, DiOrio, and he's got the first down. Right up on the 30-yard line, first and 10, Cherokee. And a drive that started back around the 25. Here's another look.
Of course, Eastern knew they were going to give to DiOrio, but DiOrio and his blockers in front of him just picked up enough of that first down. He's a tough man to bring down.
From the 30-yard line, it's Franz with his teammates up to the line of scrimmage. This time the give, and a good move with the football, number 25. That's McKenna, and a good pickup on a great second effort. The youngster, I believe, may have another first down.
And as we mentioned in the first half, Eastern has to must watch out for McKenna. Of course, they key DiOrio so much, and that will open McKenna up on a play like that.
Now, as you mentioned, Jim, the good thing about having a youngster like DiOrio, you run them often enough, they start keying on them, then you go back again. Quick look at it again.
There's McKenna. No, I don't think most of the team realized McKenna had the football even, and he just picked up fine yardage.
Around the 19-yard line, Cherokee threatening. DiOrio gets the call, bounces off tacklers, and finally gets his way down close to the 10-yard line. On the far side of the football field, they converge.
That was number 12, Ricky Sherwood, the safety, coming up and making the stop on DiOrio that time, preventing saving Eastern from a touchdown being scored on him.
13-yard line, the scene of the action right now. Second down and 4 yards to go. From the 13, Cherokee, their closest penetration. This time again, McKenna gets the call. Number 25 gets a little bit closer, John McKenna, the senior this year with the Chiefs, who are starting to knock on the door here early moments of the second half.
Give number 79, John Doobie, for Eastern credit for the stop.
7:45 remaining in quarter number 3 in a scoreless contest thus far, but it looks like Cherokee's knocking from the 11-yard line. Third down, about a yard to go. Keep the drive alive, and the Eastern fans are starting to whoop it up for their defense. DiOrio into the line. Let's see if he got the first. That was a third down call. Needed about a yard.
I believe he picked up enough for that first down, but a good defensive effort on DeOrio that time.
Ball nestled right around the 10-yard line. Still shy, though, of the first down. A fourth and about a foot and a half on the play. Here's a look at the offense from Cherokee. Big play here. Big play for defense, the Vikings. Foot and a half. This is Franz with the football. Again, number 22 stretches it out.
They help.
He didn't make it. He didn't make it. You'll see a happy bunch of defensemen coming off the ball field.
Great play, great effort by the Eastern defense. And that is such a big lift for the Eastern players.
Well, they kept backing the defense up, and finally, when they needed it, they got it. The Vikes hold.
Of course, a little reversal now from the first half where Eastern kept Cherokee deep in its own territory. This time, Cherokee's going to try to do the same, but a good effort by the Eastern defense, led by, I believe, number 76 that time. And he was part of that goal line defense.
Right into the left side of the line, and a couple of yards. Now, he let the ball go, Polkowskis did, but I believe the whistle had blown, so the fans that are going bananas will have to wait on that. Just across the 15-yard line at the 17, where it'll be second down, and good healthy 7-yard pickup for the quarterback.
76 was Mike Doobie, John Doobie's brother, part of that goal line defense, and made a fine stop on DeOrio to save that, to turn that ball over.
There they are talking it over on the sideline. While on the field, it's a second down. Nothing doing as a little daylight develops and briefly closes for Heineke. 5:44 in the first quarter, or third quarter rather, and still no score. Just an excellent ball game here in Marlton at the home of the Cherokee Chiefs.
Well, of course, this is what it all comes down to. These are the best four teams in Group 3 playing today. Of course, these two and over at Deptford today have Rancocas Valley battling the Spartans of Deptford in another exciting ball game.
Short of the 23rd down, Polkowskis will hold. He won't get to the, he looks like he may get close to the first. Let's see. He may call for a measurement here. Needed about a yard and a half. He's got the first down.
Very, very big first down for the Vikings. Of course, they're moving the ball out now to a field position where they'll be able to mix it up a little bit and run their offense the way they like to. When you're down deep like they were, it's very difficult. All you want to do is get the ball out. You don't want to do anything fancy.
A little shy of the 25, handed off neatly.
Fumble.
Polkowskis fumbled and recovered immediately by Ned Kerr, as the junior from Viking country. Lost the handle for just a moment, but flopped back on top and maybe picked up a couple of yards, at least 3 on the carry.
Dan, you talk about the bounce of the football. That time that ball just bounced perfectly right back to Kerr. Kerr doing a fine job receiving that bounce and holding on to the football, making sure it did not escape his grasp the second time. Good effort by Ned Kerr.
One thing the Vikings don't want to do is give the Chiefs too many opportunities this close in. Want to keep it. Here comes Polkowskis beating his way. Boy, this guy is working. Gets to the 40-yard line, and a good second and third effort from the quarterback from Eastern. Polkowskis first down, and now it's the defense from Cherokee has got to get busy.
Well, Dan, as we mentioned at the beginning of the game, this game could be keyed as stop DeOrio or stop Polkowskis, and right there you saw the effort of the senior quarterback. Of course, he's playing 48 minutes in this ball game. He's going both ways, but he's such a strong individual. He can run, he can pass, he can do an awful lot of things out on that football field.
First and 10 from the 40-yard line. The right side is the call, but nothing doing. Couple of yards on the play, perhaps, as they unpeel down there, and off the bottom is the runner, Rick Sherwood. Rick Sherwood, senior, picking up possibly a good, healthy 5 yards.
Well, that was a misdirection trap play where it looked like the backs were heading towards the left side of the line. Turn around to Sherwood, give to the right side, picked up half the distance there, 5 yards.
Okay, it's second down. There you see some of the fans enjoying an afternoon of excellent football. Call around left side, but very little daylight as the defense shuts it down short of the 50-yard line, and that's close to where the Vikings will have to be for a first down. They picked up 3 or 4 in the play. Third in about a yard and a half.
And this third period is really ticking away now with 3:21 remaining.
Well, we see the absence of the pass here this afternoon, Jim, something that concerned both coaches, and just a matter of getting into the ball game and getting the feel for it to know exactly how you're going to play it. But wind is definitely a factor, not only in the kicking game, but in the passing game. So it's been on the ground most of the afternoon. Third and about a yard and a half He just trying to get that first down, and let's see if off the bottom comes Sherwood if he was able to get it.
Well, I believe he picked up the first down. Again, it's going to depend on where they mark the football, but
just some hard-nosed, grind-them-out football here this afternoon.
you can hear the Eastern fans. They're not real thrilled with where they marked that football, and I think they're going to come up maybe a few inches short here.
Well, there can be no doubt which side of the field we're on here this afternoon. Right next to the fans here from Eastern. There's a look at the measurement. It's going to be about that much, about a foot. No, not even a foot. Give it about a 3-incher.
And I think what we're going to see here on this play, and I think Cherokee's going to expect it, is it's going to be the big guy, Bob Pilkowskis, just taking on the sneak. Let's watch.
Having stretch out that 6-foot and change frame of his, it should be enough for the first. Just lacking about 3 inches shy of the 50-yard line, and big play here for Pilkowskis and company in the third quarter. You called it, Jim. I don't know.
Yes, he got it. All he had to do was get to the line.
Well, the initial where he was stopped was good enough. What a great effort from the defense from Cherokee.
Boy, they knew it. Everybody knew exactly what the play was going to be. I was also thinking there it would have been an excellent time for Eastern to go for a long count and try to draw Cherokee off.
Well, you saw some of the fans, and boy, they're really whooping it up here in the second half as they've been mundane for most of the first half of this ball game, but now they're starting to come alive as they shake out the cold. First and 10 now from the 50-yard line for the Vikings. Time running out of the third quarter and no score. Right side banging in there. Tough run by Ned Kerr for a couple. That's the way they're doing it here this afternoon. They're working it out on the ground.
That's a fine offensive drive by Eastern this time. Remember, they took over the ball at their own 10-yard line, and they've been driving, keeping it on the ground. Absolutely no penalties in this drive, and that's key thing right there. They're maintaining the momentum. They're taking the ball downfield.
2nd and 8. This is Pilkowskis. He'll keep this time and dive straight ahead, close to the 40-yard line as he keeps it on the ground.
Well, an excellent shot of Pilkowskis, his second effort that time to pick up extra yards. And as you mentioned, he's 6 foot. All he has to do is fall forward, and he picks up 2 yards. He's just an exciting football player.
Picked up about 5 on that carry, and also might mention the wind is favoring, if you will, the Vikings in this quarter. It's at the back of Mr. Pilkowskis, but no passing yet. Just now getting some breathing room as they head to the left side across the 40-yard line for a couple more and possibly the first down.
Well, I believe it is a first down, Dan. It is. And Eastern's figured they don't have to throw it up in the air. They've been picking up some big chunks of yardage on every play. You pick up 4 or 5 yards on every run play, you're doing something.
And additionally, they're chewing up some of that clock and will take us right into the final quarter. And it could come down, as you mentioned earlier, Jim, a one-touchdown ball game. Minute 39 and quarter number 3. Looking at a 1st and 10 as the Vikes continue to grind it out just across the 40. There's a flag on this play as the run is up close to the
I believe we're going
35.
I think we'll have an illegal procedure call against Eastern. That is the preliminary signal, and it's a tough break for Eastern at this point because anytime something like this happens, it can really break the momentum. It can break the offensive team's concentration, and it's a big defensive, big mistake by Eastern at this point in the ballgame.
Well, Jim, these guys have been grinding it out here and just been back and forth, and that's really where this game is at. And I guess they get a little apprehensive at times, but just an excellent ball game this afternoon. No runaways here today. This is playoff football at its very best. Week number 9 on NYT Cable. Yours truly, Dan Doherty, along with Jim Powell. Hope you're enjoying the ball game. Pilkowskis on the carry, shy of the 40-yard line as he's banged by a tough Cherokee defense.
Well, Pilkowskis was hit right on the line of scrimmage, and you saw him throw himself forward. He picked up another yard or 2.
Pilkowskis, as we mentioned, goes both ways. Will play the deep secondary on defense. Made some outstanding efforts already in that capacity. Into the ball game, 81 is Tony Sindoni. He'll go wide to the left side on this next play, a 2nd and 14. Ball a little shy of the Cherokee 40. Here comes your pass, rolling right side. He's running all the way. Pilkowskis with a flag again across the 35. Flag on that run is Pilkowskis swung it out wide to the right side and kept it.
Penalty's going to go against Cherokee, too. This could be a face mask. Let's see. Usually anytime there's a defensive penalty at that point, it will be a face mask.
That play starting back at the 40-yard line, and progress by the quarterback up to the 33 for Pilkowskis. Bob has had an excellent afternoon here in Cherokee.
John Schmooze, number 51 for Eastern, one of the co-captains, discussing it with the officials.
They'll have to get to the 28-yard line in order to get a first down, the Vikings, that is. That was a second down carry.
This penalty will probably go from the point of the infraction, which was right about where it was tackled, and that's what it's going to be. A big, big mistake by Cherokee.
Well, this has certainly got the Eastern Viking fans on their feet. They love it. And you got to remember now, the Cherokee Chiefs are yet to lose this year. 6-1-1, rather deceptive. And you got to watch out for the letdown that head coach Jim Horner was talking about preceding this contest.
That was the indication of face mask. Let's see if we see it. Well, back to live action now, but the face mask was the call, and Eastern decides to take a timeout, or I believe it's Eastern.
Ball spotted just across the 20. They'll mark it at the 18-yard line. Now looms large the field goal, perhaps, although we have lots of plays to go here for the Vikes. The way they've been progressing, of course, the real estate is getting tougher to acquire down here. 38 seconds remaining in quarter number 3. Here, a good look at the Cherokee team, and most notably, the big guy, that's the man who runs it, Jim Horner, here in Cherokee. He's got a lot of dialogue to distribute amongst his players down there.
Dan, a little history of these playoffs for Eastern. In '75, the first year of the playoffs, they were in the semis and they lost to Morristown 7-6. In 1976, again in the semifinals, they lost to Sterling 24-0. In 1977, these same two teams, Eastern lost to Cherokee, and in that game, Eastern was the top seed, so they were playing over at Eastern. Cherokee beat them 18-13. In 1979, Mainland came up to play Eastern in the semifinals. Eastern handily beat Mainland that day 41-27, but they lost in the finals to Delsey 42-0. On the other hand, Cherokee has been in at 77, 78, and 80, and we'll talk about that if we get time.
All right, 1st and 10 from the 18-yard line. Polkowskis with a penetration. He keeps right into the line as a fake give off to the right side, tucks it under his belt. Polkowskis up to the 15-yard line. 3-yard pickup for the youngster who's had an exciting and good afternoon here in Cherokee country.
There's the Eastern band and the fans. They're very happy with what they're seeing right now. They want to see some points get on the board.
Well, they love it here at Cherokee. Just an outstanding, luxurious facility here for sports, Cherokee High School. We were very well received, and thank you for the courtesy. Left side, jumping over tacklers, that's Ned Kerr. He'll sidestep and step his way down, with time running out. On the clock short of the 10-yard line, and we'll have to look at this one from the other end of the ball field as 3 quarters go down, the final 12 up on the board. After that, you see it 0-0. We'll be back with an exciting 4th and final after this. From scrimmage at the other end of the football field as we open it up from the 13-yard line. The final 12 minutes begin to tick off the clock in a scoreless contest. Polkowskis around left side, goes for about 3 yards.
A fine defensive play by number 25, John McKenna, for the Chiefs. He's the only man who plays both ways for Cherokee and came up and put Polkowskis down for a loss, and that's a big one. Now, it's a shame the time ran out in the period, because if they had not turned around, I think they would go for a field goal at this point.
13-yard line, second, Polkowskis right side on a fake. Rolling. He's going to keep it. Find some room, cut back inside, about the 10-yard line where he's finally brought down in a pile.
And Cherokee on a big defensive effort has held. Remember, Eastern took over at their own 10-yard line and marched 80 yards, but could not move any farther than that. A good defensive effort by Cherokee, and as we've been saying throughout this game, just a good defensive football game.
Now we got to talk about the wind here. It's in the face of the Vikings. The Cherokee Chiefs now have the football, wind at their back. They're on the field now, and they're on the 11-yard line. Some excellent defense from the guys from Cherokee. So all that effort from the Vikings for naught. Now let's see what the defense can deliver. Into the line, but very little there.
Again, that front five of Eastern playing very tough. Middle guard, Jeff Sutherland. The tackles, Bill Dieterdink, John Doobie, and their defensive ends, John Schmooze and Toplin, playing an excellent day. It's the same for their counterparts on Cherokee. The defense is just playing marvelous football today.
5-yard pickup for DiOrio. The ball is spotted at the 16-yard line, where it will be 2nd and 5. DiOrio getting the work, and on the other side of the ledger, youngster by the name of Polkowskis, Bob doing the work for the Vikes, along with a lot of his companions. Wide right side, again DiOrio. His number's tagged again and a little short of the first down.
Not
Now
by
it's the
much.
Chiefs' turn to go the length of the football field.
I think we might see a measurement. Yes, we're going to. Or no, they're giving them the first down. It is a first down, Dan.
Okay, they'll move the sticks down, and the drive continues for the Chiefs, trying to shake out that numbness they felt along the sideline. The offense from Cherokee not seeing too much duty here in the second half. There's a good look at number 14 of Eastern. That's Timmy Walsh. He played a part in this Viking attack here this afternoon. First down. No passing, but the wind at the back of the quarterback, France. He goes into the line, but very little there for DeOrio.
Of course, Cherokee not known as being a passing team, but France can throw the ball, and I would not doubt to see him put it up a couple times on this drive.
3-yard pickup for DeOrio this time as we're set to go 2nd and 7. France looks it over and set to go for the Chiefs. There he goes again to the center of the line as they're trying to grind it out again here. And if there's any consolation for the home team, the wind is at their quarterback's back, as with a mail this time as John McKenna picks up a couple more. 3rd down and 5.
Well, this is going to be a big defensive play for Eastern. If they can hold him here, they'll force him to punt it away. However, if they can't hold, it's going to give Cherokee an awful lot of momentum.
Well, should the Chiefs have to boot it, they've got the wind working with them, and that will be an asset. 3rd down play for the quarterback, Franz. Once again, he goes to McKenna. McKenna cannot turn downfield as the defense from the Vikings just terrific on the plays there, Jim, stringing it right along.
That's awful early in a ball game for Cherokee to take a chance of going for it, so they're going to relinquish the football. Remember, they'll have the wind at their back when they punt this ball, and they have their chance right now of putting Eastern deep. However, good hands for Eastern on their punt receiving team.
Take a look at this again.
Good effort by the whole defense to string this play out. Good initial hit by the cornerback and a good pursuit by Sherwood coming up, making the final stop.
Just one hit after another. Standing back close to the end zone to boot the football for Cherokee is Howie. He'll be booting deep to Bukauskas. What a carry, but there is a flag on the play.
I believe it's going to be a procedure call against Cherokee, so a big break for Eastern that time. It looked like an Eastern player was offsides. However, he must have been drawn off, and that's going to be the call as illegal procedure, forcing Cherokee to punt the ball from 5 yards back. An advantage for Eastern on this, Dan, is that they saw how much leg the kicker for Cherokee, and that's Rich Howie, can get into the ball at this point and gives their receivers a chance to adjust to that, and it could really help them out in this situation.
Well, the Bukauskas is standing close to the 40-yard line, and on the far side, the number 22 is the junior, Tom Crowley. They'll be on the other end of this Howie boot. He's standing, as Jim mentioned, near the end zone. Here comes with the wind behind him, the boot. A good one. Carries high into the arms of Crowley on the 35, making the 45 to the 50. Far side, but he bumps out of bounds across the field, close to the 43-yard line. But a good return sets the Vikings up for good field position.
Excellent field position. That's a big thing right now at this point of the ball game. We have 7:55 remaining in the ball game. Eastern can use up an awful lot of that clock, as we've seen throughout this ball game with the offense and the ball control type offense they use. Here's the punt. Good play by the receiver Crowley to field the ball, and good blocks in front of him. A good return.
Well, this turned into being quite a mass hysteria down there as Bukauskas kept the pigskin, went into the left side of the defense from Cherokee and picked up a yard or two just over the 45, as it will be spotted on the 42-yard line, maybe 2 yards on the play.
Well, number 83 for Cherokee, Bob Edgerly, making the initial hit and doing a fine job. Again, you can't say anything too much about either one of these defenses.
The time is 7:37 in the scoreless ball game from the 42. Right off the handoff into that line goes number 27, Ned Kerr again.
Good second effort by the young man also, Dan, to pick up a couple extra yards.
There you see number 27 off the bottom and back to the huddle. And the Eastern fans have got something to cheer about here, as it's been an Eastern Vikings second half. No pushover, and Cherokee has got their hands full trying to protect that unblemished record they've had all year. 6-1-1's the tally for the Vikings. That's deceptive. 3rd and 5, just across the 40-yard line. Bukauskas pitches back. Left side, can't find room. Nothing doing for Ned Kerr. Well, they had him going.
Excellent defensive work by Cherokee that time, number 81. Let me check on that. That's Glenn Malos coming up and stringing the play out. Very good. Kirk could just not turn the corner, and of course that's what the outside contained man must do on that. You'll see him string it right out, comes up, and Kerr just can't turn it around.
Trying to put the straight arm on him, but Rich Howie put the finishing touches. Here comes the boot now, which will come from the 50-yard line. And going for the coffin corner is Kerr's kick, but nothing doing, as diving into the end zone was Crowley.
That was a heck of a kick into the wind, too, Dan.
Hey, you see the kicker, number 27, Kerr, and he tried to aim for the coffin corner, and then Crowley making a diving attempt at keeping it there. They're throwing it back in, but nothing doing. So it's 1st and 10 football. They'll start from the 20. As Cherokee now has it, we're trading football. 6:16 remaining in the scoreless ball game. This is a football fan's delight, and boy, they're jumping on both sides of the field. Is that to keep warm or from excitement? Probably at this point, excitement. France. There he goes to Diorio. Bounces off a couple, but finally taken down and really putting the hooks on, putting the beef to him was number 66, Vicarello. Vic really did a job.
Vic, the linebacker there, making a good recovery tackle, coming over and putting him down. Of course, Diorio, anytime he gets the football, you have to be concerned. And as a defensive unit out there, I'm sure they are, because they know and have heard so much about him. I'm sure they've seen him in 1 or 2 games, and he can break away.
Well, he got banged, but not before he got 8 yards, so it's 2nd and 2, this shy of the 30. And once again, the call, they'll work the right side, and it looks like it could be the first down. They might measure on this one. Off the bottom of the pile with a pigskin that time was McKenna. John possibly got his club the first down. They're moving the sticks. He did.
Number 34, Jeff Sutherland, the middle guard for Eastern, on the bottom of the pile. Obviously the first man to make the hit.
So the drive continues now as we're up and down and really chewing up some clock. And what a speedy second half. Matter of fact, with a speedy ball game, very little passing. It's got to be attributed to the high winds we've been experiencing here this afternoon. The clock just keeps on rolling like Old Man River. 5:25 in this one. I'll try it again, but nothing too much to talk about, but they're still keeping the clock rolling. They're still getting close.
79, John Doobie in the white jersey. Credit for the stop. Defensive units, again, doing such a marvelous job out here today.
35-yard line. It'll be a second, 5 yards to go for Cherokee. Drew France the entire distance, number 1 at quarter for the Chiefs. From the 35. Here it goes, Diorio, pair of deuces, gets the call. Up close to a first down. He's up across, I believe, the 40-yard line, maybe the 39. Maybe about a yard shy.
That's a tackle trap play where the tackle pulls down a line and actually blindsides the defensive man coming through the line, opened up a nice hole.
Well, both lines have got to be really given credit for the work they've done here this afternoon, making it possible. It's just been that kind of a grind 'em out type afternoon. Nothing fancy. It's all done on the ground here today. Short by about a yard, but right into the line, and this could be a tough defense right here. They might have to measure this one as they unpeel off the bottom. 22, Diorio is the man at the bottom of the pile. I believe they do have the first down. The sticks are moving, and Cherokee is on the move. Time now so critical. 4:09.
And of course, Eastern defense must stop Cherokee. They have to stop this momentum that Cherokee's picking up on this drive.
40-yard line, 1st and 10. Their own 40. Cherokee has got the wind at their back. No passes, nothing fancy. Here comes Diorio, going to air it out. Got a man wide open, but not too much. Down there under the ball was Colick, but just a little overthrown. There's a little surprise for you. Diorio airing it out. Good arm.
Tom Crowley, I believe, was beat for a few minutes there, and getting a little help from Ricky Sherwood, and Pelkoskis going back there, but had the pass been on the money, it probably would have been completed.
82, Ralph Colick. We haven't seen much of that youngster, but the senior almost had himself a tally on that toss from Diorio. That'll stop the clock, one of the infrequent times today, 3:47, and it's up to a second down. Second down for the Cherokee Chiefs on their 40. Trying to mix it up. Well, they go right back to number 22, and that's DeOrio.
Chip Crow, number 44, making a fine stop on DeOrio as soon as he got the football, so very little gain on that play.
Make it number 25, McKenna on the carry this time.
Thank you, Dan.
About a yard on the play, nothing more. So it becomes a matter of perhaps now I see coming back into the ball game is Colic. Ralph on the other end of that DeOrio airing out just a moment ago. So let's see what they're going to come up with. He goes wide right side. This is a 3rd and 10 situation for the Chiefs, who've got to keep it moving here. Well, they give it to DeOrio again, the mailman, but he carries for shy of the first down. Close to the 50-yard line, but I believe it will just be a little too short. This could bring up a kicking situation.
This is decision time for Coach Horner on the far side. There's 2:54 remaining in the ball game. Do you punt the ball away? And it looks like that's what he's going to do.
No doubt. He would like to get it down deep in the Viking end of the ball field and hope to keep that team down there and still get good field position should his defense hold. It could be a field goal situation here, Jim. 2:36 remaining in this one. Nothing.
That would be a heck of a long field goal, Coach.
No, I'm talking about if we go much further in this.
Oh, okay.
Standing back to kick is Howie. Backing up quickly to the 30 is Bulkaskis.
It could
now
be a
to the
fake.
25. Oh, the snap very high. A flag on the play.
They drew
that
him off.
stops it all.
Long count, and Eastern went.
There
Good.
you go.
Good play by Cherokee.
Cherokee thinking on this one. And it was just enough to pull. Let's see. Let's not be second-guessing the officials. That was a 4th and 5, or perhaps 4. This could be a first down if it goes against the Vikes. It is offside. I don't need to tell you who's doing the screaming here this afternoon.
And it should certainly be enough for the first down.
About a yard more than they'll need.
They may measure now. Let's see.
What a series of events here this afternoon at Cherokee Turf.
First down.
What a turnabout as the Cherokee Chiefs now have got some breathers. 2:19 in this ball game, and the Chiefs get another life. Now they're at the controls once again when seemingly the Vikes would have the pigskin. The ball will be spotted just across the 50-yard line where it will be 1st and 10, Cherokee football. And 4 plays to get it moving. Clock is rolling with 2 minutes remaining in this one. We're going to the wire. Stick around. There's the man with the mail. DeOrio breaks a tackle. Another one bounces off a couple of players. A flag as DeOrio falls across the 40-yard line.
This is going to be a big play, big defensive penalty against Cherokee.
Looks like it may be against the Vikes.
No, it'll be
Cherokee's
against
walking.
Cherokee, and they're really upset with it. It's a clip.
Okay, there you see the officials talking it over. Right in on the play to look it over is John Schmooze, 51. Yeah, you call it, Jim. That'll move them way back, and we're going nowhere here.
You'll see it coming up down here, and a lot of time on a busted play, you can see the clips, and it happens. It's a shame, and it's a big break for Eastern, and it's a sad thing for Cherokee. And of course, Cherokee's been having some penalty problems a lot during the afternoon today.
This has just left all these fans here, and there are hundreds of them here today, just left them very quiet all of a sudden on both sides of the field. So we're looking at 1:53 and a zip ball game. After almost a full hour of football, we're no score. The ball, let's see, has yet to been set down. There goes the officials back on the field after talking it over. John Batchelor of the Eastern Vikings letting him know what's going on. Will be walked back into Chief territory. Clipping is the call. Ball will be spotted on the 43-yard line. 1st and about 20 yards to go. 1:53, and the fans are milling around the truck and the van here as they move with the flow up and down the ball field. Everybody huddled around in their blankets. The wind's blowing, and it is in the back of the Cherokee Chiefs, so they've got the advantage with the wind. From the 43, 1st down, 20 yards to go, 1:51. Into the line, and absolutely nothing.
John Schmooze, number 51, making the stop. A good effort and big, strong young man.
That was McKenna, 25, and he'd like the officials to talk to some of the defensemen from Eastern. He steps up back, gets back on his feet again, number 25. Pickup of maybe a couple, that's about all. In fact, probably not more than a yard. From the 43, second down. Clock is rolling, 1:19. Franz with a pigskin. This is pass time. Down the field it goes, not too much, but DiOrio does gather in, maybe to the 40, and that's all. Make that, I believe it's, no, it's DiOrio.
And Jeff Sutherland, number 34, the middle guard, again, good, quick to react on the play, coming down and making the stop on DiOrio.
Nobody's calling timeout, but the clock is rolling with 54, 52. It's rolling, and the Cherokee Chiefs with 3rd and 11 yards to go. Shy of the 50 are ready to go.
Good effort right there by Sutherland. You see him coming down to make the tackle.
The pass as he's hit. Nothing doing.
That'll stop the clock with 39 seconds remaining in the ball game.
Which probably was in the back of the mind of the quarterback. The intended receiver down there for Cherokee was Strong. I believe Darrell Strong, number 87, was the intended receiver, but boy, was Franz belted as he got the pigskin away.
Cherokee calls a timeout. Looks like we have an injured player on the ground for Cherokee, too, or maybe he's just taking a rest. I believe we have to have a winner of this ball game, and we probably will go to overtime.
Well, head coach Horner now out on the football field talking in the huddle. You saw the time there. 39 seconds remaining in this one.
Exactly.
How could they play the next round, Jim, without a winner?
I don't know. I just wondered how many quarters, how many sudden death periods they would run.
Well, did you make any appointments for later on tonight? Tell Mama to call whole dinner.
Well, we'll certainly be here.
Uh-huh.
And of course, as the game, as it does go longer, Cherokee will definitely have the advantage with their platoon system, where Eastern has just about their entire unit going both ways. As I said, 8 or 9 out of the 11 starters are going both ways for the Vikings.
39 seconds is all she wrote in regulation time here in Cherokee. This is the Group 3 semifinal. Cherokee 8-0, Vikings from Eastern 6-1-1. An exciting afternoon of ball, and just a great game to watch. Very little fancy stuff, just hard-nosed, back-to-basics football. We're set to go on 4th and 11. 4th and 11, just around the 50-yard line. Back to pass, France, time, airs it out, bounces off one and defenseman, but nothing doing, and actually knocked down there by number 78.
John Toplin.
Toplin.
He's been playing a fine football game. As defensive end, he just got his hands up there, picked a little piece of it off. 34 seconds. Pilkowskis, as we know, can't throw the ball. Of course, he's throwing into a strong wind.
Well, he's throwing into a wind, and he's got 34 seconds to pull it off. The ball spotted at the 50. Look at it again.
You just see Toplin go up good, get his arm up, jump, and got a piece of it and deflected the ball.
Not much chance to see if anyone was open on the play anyway. Pilkowskis, he's going to throw. Looking, plenty of time. Airs it out, down the sideline. A man's under it. Could be some interference. You got it.
It's intercepted, let's see, but I think it may be. The flag is down.
There is a flag, and the fans are just beside themselves as you see a lot of activity down in the end zone.
All right, but remember, though, it's pass interference will go from the line of scrimmage.
Well, we got the initial indication and the feeling from the booth here that it was pass interference as it was intercepted. However, let's take a look. Obviously, the Cherokee Chiefs are not too concerned. Flag is in the center of the field. It's going against the Vikings, I believe. Offsetting. Could try this one all over again, Jim. There's the fans. Look at the crowd we've got here this afternoon in Marlton. Cherokee High School. This beautiful facility in South Jersey, an exciting semifinal playoff game. There's a conversation between John Batchelor of the Vikes and the officials.
Well, that's exactly what it is, offsetting penalties. And you'll see Pilkowskis has plenty of time, heaves it out. Pass interference there, and the ball was intercepted.
No doubt at all on that call. Well, that got the fans moving, and that it crunched off about 9 or 10 seconds down the 24 down. No doubt where the Vikings are headed. 50-yard line.
Now, of course, the problem with you don't want to get too carried away and throw the ball up for grabs here, because an interception, of course, could be taken down the field and returned all the way. So
wide right side again is Sindoni. They're going to keep it on the ground this time as the sun shines here in Cherokee country. The clock moves. 8, 7, 6. They're going to let it roll. 5. We're looking at overtime here. 2-1. That's all she wrote for this ball game. We're going to take a brief timeout here, and I believe we'll be back with quarter number 5. At the end of regulation time, both teams will head to the sidelines as it ends in zeros. So we'll be back with overtime here in the semifinals, Group 3, after this. I'll tell you on how it works in just a moment. Right now we have a 2nd and 9 as we pick it up from the where we ended in official regulation time. The ball is spotted on the 49-yard line of Cherokee. Make it 2nd and 9 for the Vikings of Eastern. Jim Powell?
Yes, of course.
Okay, I didn't know you had a mug of coffee in your hand there.
Here we go.
Okay, the overtime.
We have 2 8-minute overtime periods is what they would normally play if there's no score. It's not sudden death. It's 8 minutes that they'll be running right now. If at the end of the 8 minutes there's no score, they'll play another 8-minute overtime period. If there's no score then, what they'll do is put the ball on the 10-yard line. Team will get 4 downs to try to put it in. If not, then it turns over the other way, and they get 4 downs to try to put it in. Kind of an elaborate system. Nobody really ever expects it to go to that, I suspect, and hopefully it won't go to that 4 downs at the 10-yard line situation. But here we go.
Probably one of the classic games this afternoon. 0-0 after a full ball game. This is Polkoskis from the line of scrimmage across the 45 on 2nd and 9. He'll be dumped on the 45, 3rd down and 6 yards to go.
And John McKenna, number 25, came up nicely to cause Polkoskis to delay for a few seconds and allowed the rest of the defense come over and put him down.
Now we want to also mention again that we have a full 8-minute additional period here, so the first score does not win it. So it's interesting with 7.5 minutes now of those 8 remaining. Polkoskis back to pass. He's got the wind at his back, being chased. Good help back there. Finally airs it out. The left-hander has it intercepted. Up the sidelines with a pigskin number 12 is Rich Howie. Rich Howie for Cherokee negates everything, and a flag is down.
And I believe a flag's going to be an illegal block by Eastern, so the Cherokee won't get the football.
It's a clip, indeed it is, against the Vikings. So Cherokee retains possession, and they'll now have the football, wind at their face, but nonetheless the pigskin just across the 50-yard line on an intercepted Polkoskis pass by Howie.
And again, that's one of the reasons why we have not seen much passing in the ball game today, is both coaches have been playing very conservative football, which you'll normally find in championship level games.
Well, it's 1st and 10 as the tide now moves. Let's look at it again.
See Polkoskis, he's under a lot of pressure. Good pursuit by the teams, and throws not set, and the ball picked off.
Back to play now, live action, 1st and 10 for the Cherokee Chiefs. Not too much pickup on the plays. They go right into the heart of the defense, Cherokee. Couple of yards on the play, perhaps 4.
And the wind is picking up again. If we could get possibly a shot of the flags on top of the far side bleachers, the fans will know what we're talking about when we say the wind is blowing here.
2nd down and a little over 4 yards to go. Cherokee football.
Fumble!
Oh, a fumble, but coming back heads up and still retaining it. Good play. That was DiOrio fumbling the ball. Good heads up from Franz, who came back immediately to flop on top of it. So they'll pick up a couple on that play, make it 3rd and 4. And they'll call for another football. Sun coming up on the other side of the stadium, as you can check the shadows there. Sun right in our eyes. The markings a little difficult to spot, but just an outstanding afternoon here in Cherokee. So it remains Cherokee football, 3rd down and 4 yards to go. 3rd and 4 to the line of scrimmage. France has gone the entire distance. There he goes, DiOrio cuts back to the right side. Boy, they corral that youngster.
Good.
Not too much doing up off the bottom of the tussle there. Number 78, Toplin again.
Good defensive effort by Eastern. Again, you can't say enough about either of these defensive units out there.
Trying to run it back against the grain. Now it's a 4th and about 1.5 yards for the Cherokee Chiefs, who got the football by way of the interception by number 12, Rich Howie. They're going for it. Need about a yard and a half. They call for the money man. There he is. Blasting through there is DiOrio. Delivers once again for the Chiefs.
Dan, he is so quick up the middle. By the time the defense is ready for him, he's past them. Looks like he's slightly shaken up on the play, though.
Well, the football now a little shy of the 30-yard line, but take another look.
He comes right through there. He just lightning quick.
First and 10, Cherokee. Chiefs, they're moving. This is the first 8-minute overtime. Into the line again. Not much real estate, but it chews up the clock. Now showing 5:15. And off the bottom, this time McKenna. Number 25 gets up off the bottom of the pile. John McKenna, Sr. and DiOrio doing a job here this afternoon in this exciting Group 3 semifinal clash. Pickup of a yard and a half, perhaps. 2nd and 9. Franz again, the give, left side, little daylight, bouncing from tackle to tackle. Once again, McKenna starting to do the job now, and close to first down turf.
Bobby Pikoskis, the only man between the goal line and McKenna coming up, making the stop.
And some fine secondary work by that youngster. 4:41 remaining in the first overtime, 8 minutes worth. Coming your way. This is quarter number 5 in this playoff adventure. Here in Marlton at the home of the Cherokee Chiefs, they own the ball, and they're moving. DiOrio, left side, trying to get downfield, goes to the sidelines, cannot get downfield. Good defensive effort there as they chased him down.
John McMenamin, the cornerback, doing exactly what he had to do there. Strung the play out, did not allow DiOrio to turn the corner. He ran out of field.
Well, not before he picked up 4 yards on the play. That'll bring up a 2nd and 6. Ball spotted around the 20-yard line. Wind in their face. Cherokee's moving it on the ground and being very effective at it. Franz barking signals. Once again, number 22 gets the call and dives into the line. DiOrio getting some overtime here. Picks up a couple more, a little closer now. They've got to get close to the 15 for the first down. No one is left here, and they don't intend to. A full 8-minute overtime period. Referees call it time. 4:01 on the clock. Possibly a maintenance problem there. Officials want a timeout.
Looks like they're moving some people back from the sideline on the Cherokee sideline, Dan.
Ball looks to be at the 13-yard line. 13-yard line, it's 3rd down and a couple to go. You mentioned, Jim, the fans are following the team up and down the field here and probably encroaching a little more than the officials would like on the sideline. Of course, the obvious result of that could be injury. Pitch back, DiOrio, right side, carrying it like a loaf of bread, but bounces close and across for a first down. So DiOrio's moving it back and forth and making it work. As the winds pick up here into the face of the Cherokee Chiefs. First down and goal to go for the Cherokee Chiefs.
The replay of the run. Good effort by the defense to pursue, but not until after the first down had been picked up.
Spotted at the 14-yard line, and Franz just has nowhere to go with the football, and they just kind of crunched in on him, and McKenna. As soon as McKenna got a hold of the pigskin, he was dumped.
Dumped him for a loss of about a yard, Dan. And again, that defensive unit of Eastern, of course, is most of the offensive unit also, so they're getting tired out on that football field.
From the 16, it's a 2nd down call here for France of Cherokee. Once again, DiOrio gets the mail into the line, left side, but very little given up there by a tough, stingy defense from Viking turf. So the Vikings from Eastern doing what they've got to do to keep the Chiefs out of the end zone. 2:51 remaining in this first overtime, 8 minutes worth, here in Marlton.
And Cherokee wants a timeout to talk things over.
Well, we mentioned some of the exciting football going on this afternoon, Jim, all over the Delaware Valley. And, of course, Mark Narducci has spoken of it all week. And just one exciting game after another. No No big wins expected anywhere. Nobody's overbalanced. It just seems to be classic playoff football.
Of course, Audubon making the playoffs for the first time this afternoon down at Glassboro. That should be a real exciting game. Haddon Township against Northern Burlington. Well, of course, we did the Northern Burlington game last year. They lost in the last second of the ball game. 2 years ago, Haddon Township beat Northern Burlington up at Burlington. This is actually the first time they've played on their home turf for Haddon Township, so you have to give the edge in that game to Haddon Township. But I'm sure that game's very similar to this one, just a tough football game because these teams are so good going into the playoffs.
We're at the 15-yard line here with 2:46 remaining in the first overtime, 8 minutes worth. From the 15, it's 3rd down and 10. 3rd and 10, Cherokee back to the line of scrimmage. Pitch back, left side, Diorio straightens it out, heads for the end zone and can't quite make it. Bumped out of bounds down over the 10-yard line, but not probably close to the 5 when they spot the football. Getting ever so close, and obviously the closest penetration in almost 5 quarters.
It's 4th and 1.
4th and 1, so they still can pick the first down up and still not get into the end zone. Let's see what the defense from Eastern has to offer here.
I believe another timeout called by Cherokee, and I'm not sure if they're not going to discuss a field goal situation at this point or not.
Well, it's at the 6-yard line, Jim, as we see it from here. From the 6, the wind will be in the face of Cherokee. We're looking at a 4th down situation. And, of course, the clock very important with 2:40 remaining, and we will go the full 8 minutes. So should Cherokee pick up a field goal here, that just might be enough to win it, should there not be enough time left for the Vikings to move it down. Interesting call.
Of course, Keith Luchin, number
There's the
64,
score right now.
is their place kicker.
Well, Luchin would certainly have the pressure on
They're going
him.
for it.
And they're going to probably...
There he is, number 64. We can get a shot of him with the camera. He just placed a tee down.
Keith Luchin just put it down. Number 64 will try to put the first points on this board. Holding will be quarterback, number 1, Drew France.
So watch out for anything.
Most important call here. 2:40 left in the first overtime, and could 3 points win this ball game?
And maybe going for a long count again.
There's the snap. It's up.
No good.
No good. Off to the right side. Off to the right side. The kick is no good. What an exciting turn of events here this afternoon. 2:34. There you see some fans from where else but Eastern. They were really holding their breath on this side of the football field, Jim, and they're really living it up right now. There's the football team who just watched it sail wide.
And, of course, the kick certainly had enough distance, certainly had enough height, just a little bit off, and a game of inches.
Such as it is, and the streamers head up skyward here from eastern side of the football field, as with 2:34, it's now Viking football. They'll take over from the point.
Wind's at their back.
From the 20-yard line, and little to offer on the right side as everyone pushes to the right side, but off the bottom of the pile, Polkowskis.
Very quick count that time by the Eastern Vikings.
Did manage to pick up 5 yards on the play out to the 25-yard line. So now a time, a factor now must remember that Polkowskis has got the wind at his back. 2:11, it's rolling. 5-yard pickup, 2nd and 5 from the 25. Polkowskis calls them together. Give right into the line. The boy on the defense.
Flag
and a
down.
flag coming after the tackle. Back after the whistle. Getting off of the bottom of the pile, number 12, Rick Sherwood. Could be going against the Vikings.
Sure looks that way. And, of course, as the game continues, tempers get hot, little things happen out there, and we're not exactly sure what the penalty is yet, but usually when it's called at that point in a ball game after the play, it's a little pushing and shoving going on possibly.
All right, they're going to step it off against the Vikings, and a big one it is. Get the indication in a moment now from the official.
Holding.
That's the call. That'll march it back. Second down. Good 20 yards to be made here by the Vikings for the first, as they're working deep in their own end zone. Polkowskis keeps, rolls left, puts his head down, and barrels into the turf.
And of course, Eastern wants to be very conservative at this point of the game.
Number 77, Wally Spargo.
1:35 left. They'll probably use as much time as they possibly can here and punt the ball.
Well, it's still moving.
Or third down, rather. Third down, so they'll have another play to run it.
Well, they'll have a couple, but they're in no hurry at this point. Deep in their own end, they certainly are going to give up some excellent field position. However, if you look at the replay.
Polkowski's good football player, puts his head down, tries to drive, but a good tackle by McKenna.
No, not fooling anyone on that play. Wilkoskis right side with a football. Number 12 is bounced down hard. That's Sherwood. Rick cannot get much more than about a 5-yard pickup. 1 minute exactly remaining in the first 8-minute overtime quarter.
I would not doubt that Cherokee has no timeouts left. I think with an 8-minute period, they probably only allowed two timeouts, and I believe Cherokee has used them both.
Well, this is 4th down and 9 yards to go. Obvious kicking situation, shall we watch?
Eastern wants to use as much time as possible.
Standing back to do the punting now, number 27, Ned Kerr, will do the honors for the Chiefs. Back to receive the boot, number 15, Karabesi. He'll be standing back at the 35-yard line. With the wind at his back, here comes the boot from Kerr. And a good one it is. It'll hit turf, roll. Picked up right there, just shy of the 40-yard line, under the football. Chiefs will take over 1st and 10.
Tom Crowley, number 22, right there to make the stop as soon as Keith picked the ball up, or Crowley rather picked the ball up.
27 seconds remaining in the first 8 minutes of overtime, and as Jim mentioned, take another look at this one.
Just took a bounce, and he fielded it on a one bounce, and right there to put the stop on him.
Probably the good move by Carbasi, or would have bounced for another 10 or 15. 1st and 10, Cherokee football on the 42.
27 seconds remaining in the first overtime period.
Good block laid down for number 22 with a football, and he's been busy, Diorio. Good block laid down for him there by McKenna. Picks up a good, healthy 7 yards. 7-6, they're going to let it roll out here. We're in our overtime number 2.
But after this one, I believe it'll be turned around heading the other way, Dan, and of course, that'll give Cherokee the wind at their back.
Well, there you see the club from Cherokee changing into the football field. In essence, we're moving into quarter number 6 here in Cherokee. We're going to take a brief timeout, but we're right back with you for our second overtime in this Group 3 semifinal playoff. Don't stray away. Cherokee football. Someone's gotten loose right off the first snap. Cherokee with a football down to the 25-yard line. None other than number 25, John McKenna, who blasted open on the 50-yard line the first play in the second overtime, as the second 8 minutes has been tacked up of a scoreless ball game here in Group 3. And the McKenna with a football travels all the way down to the 24. Probably the most explosive run in almost 6 periods.
Well, I tell you, Tom Crowley did a fine job coming back to save the game by making the tackle.
Right back to play on the 24-yard line. 1st and 10 for Cherokee, and the fans are moving up and down now. Back into the line once again, another yard or two on the play as they unpeel. Probably a Diorio at the bottom of the pile. So they're mixing it up with Diorio and McKenna.
John Schmooze, number 51, on the bottom of the pile for Eastern, making the stop. But a little razzle-dazzle in the backfield there. Faked the heck out of me. I didn't even know who had the football. But here came McKenna through the line with the football, picking up good yardage.
While the fans, and there are hundreds of them here, just moving up and down the field right now, they're sequestered in front of us. 7 minutes remaining. We will go the full 8 minutes in this overtime number 2. Second down, 7 yards to go. At the helm of France, going all the way from the 22. Pitch back, Diorio carries it in one hand, dives forward, close to the 10-yard line. Throwing caution to the winds, the Cherokee Chiefs are moving it in. To the 11-yard line, that is another first down.
Well, looking at the Eastern defense out there, Dan, I think fatigue is starting to be a factor in this ball game. Again, as we mentioned early on in the game, Cherokee platoons, they have one man, and that's McKenna going both ways. Eastern has 8 or 9 of them going both ways, and that can be a deciding factor, especially in a long ball game that we have right now.
Okay, the fans are moving in. Here we are, first down from the 11-yard line with just under about 6.5 to go. Well, we'll go the full 8 minutes. This is reason for excitement here in Cherokee, as the Chiefs, for the first time, have given their fans a very exciting ball game. Something to cheer about here. That is from a scoring point of view. It's been an exciting ball game the entire distance. As we mentioned, we'll play 8 minutes now, and should we still come up dry, well, then both teams will get 4 downs each on the 10-yard line.
Cherokee's going to be awfully tough to keep at this point of the ball game.
2nd and 7 from the 9-yard line. Biggest threat of the afternoon here in Marlton. Pitch back, Diorio, right side, nothing there, goes wide.
Oh, what a tackle.
Grab from behind, that's none other than Polkowskis.
Bobby Polkowskis, a fine open field tackle. And had he not made that tackle, Diorio would have had that corner turned, and he had pretty much clear sailing to the corner.
Diorio just kind of skating around back there, looking downfield for a hole. Just about had one before he was in the clutches of number 16, Bob Polkowskis. That's a loss on the play of a couple. 3rd down and 11 from the 13-yard line.
Remember, Cherokee has the wind at their back this time if they go into that field goal situation.
Looking at the field goal possibility indeed, Jim Powell. To the line. This is France with a football. Once again, Diorio, number 22, battles his way, a fumble. Nobody can get to it. Finally grabbed right near the goal line.
Oh, they're going to rule him dead, I believe, Dan.
They're going to rule it dead. I believe you're right, Jim.
And that will bring in the field goal unit.
That was Joe Ritchie, number 65, who finally got to the pigskin, but they ruled it dead back of the 10-yard line.
What a ball game. What a football game.
A little bit of everything for the football fan here today. 9-yard line, and the pressure now settles on the shoulders of number 64, who will do the booting for the Cherokee Chiefs, Keith Luchin.
Eastern, I believe, is going to call a timeout. Let's see. No, it's an official timeout.
Look at the fans are really streaming into the end zone area. Somebody's going to have a football in their mitts in just a moment. I think that's the concern right now of the officials.
Now, Eastern will also call for a timeout, give Mr. Luchin a little bit more time to think about this kick. Defensive play that's been used for many years on a big kick or big situation. They called timeout. They allow that man to think, gee, I just missed one down at the other end. How was I set up? How did I turn? Did I shank it? Did I move my foot the wrong way? Did I not set properly? Whatever. He knows he has the wind at his back. The distance, of course, is not the big problem here. It's the direction. The wind is swirling a little bit. The wind's blowing slightly across the field into this far corner. You know, you can see number 64 standing by himself. We can get a shot of him. That's the kicker, just all by himself, away from the huddle, thinking about this kick.
4:41 left on the clock, Jim, and the kick will come from about the 20-yard line, about possibly the 18-yard line for Luchin.
And Luchin
He'll be snapped from the 9.
Thinking about it, just standing by the tee, thinking there's a shot of him. That's a place kicker. The pressure is on.
Well, they can pick up 3 points possibly here, can the Chiefs. However, we're going to go the rest of this 4:41 second overtime, so the Vikings are really not out of this should Luchin put this between the uprights. It would, however, be the first score in over an hour. These two teams have been going at each other in some hard-nosed football. This has been basic football, Jim. That's one thing you have to reiterate.
Well, conservative, neither coaches wanted to give the other team the victory, and of course they haven't. They've just played good heads-up, head-to-head football. It's just blocking and tackling, and both of these teams doing a fine job.
Well, the officials have the end zone cleared out. We're set to go now. Luchin will boot this from the 17-yard line. The snap will be coming from the 9. Luchin will put his toe on it at the 17. The fans are ready, and boy, this has got them all on their feet. The snap, it's up.
It looks good.
It's good. You get the indication, no doubt at all. The whole team from Cherokee is on the field. However, the fans may not be aware. I think we're going the full 8 minutes here.
We should be, unless it looks like it's not. It looked like it was an 8-minute sudden death. That's what it seems to be, because both teams are going out on the field very dejected.
Obviously, that's the way we had it. We misread the second overtime. The first score in the second overtime wins the ball game. And, of course, that Luchin kick now ever so critical then.
Well, we went 48, 56, just about a complete hour of football.
That's
will be
the final score, 3-0. As on the field, you see both teams. We were told it would be a complete 8 minutes. However, there's the kick that won it. Right through the uprights off Luchin's toe from the 17.
We'll check if I can grab the hold of Coach Horner and interview him afterwards. We'll check about that.
Okay,
Also.
we'll send Jim Powell down to see if he can get in this mass of humanity down on the football field and perhaps round up Jim Horner and enlighten us exactly of what happened here. We thought the full 8 minutes of the overtime would be used. However, that made that kick so awfully important for Mr. Luchin, who split the uprights from the 17-yard line. And after a full ball game plus 8 minutes of overtime and 4 minutes into the second overtime, Luchin does the trick. At 4:34, the clock is stopped. The winner, 3-0. Cherokee's football team now 9-0. Don't stray away. We got much more for you. Jim will have an interview for us and more on this ball game. But first, let's take a timeout. Well, hi and welcome back. And there you see the final of this one after not only a full ball game, 1 8-minute overtime, but an additional 4.5 minutes made it go a 3-0 score. Cherokee, the winner in the semifinal, Group 3. Down on the football field with head coach and a very happy Jim Horner, now 9-0, is my good buddy Jim Powell.
Okay, with me, Coach Jim Horner. Coach, congratulations. Heck of a football game. Your thoughts right now?
Well, I'm just glad it's over. There's no losers in a football game like this. It's a shame that there has to be something, you know. And that's the problem with the playoffs. That somebody has to win or somebody has to lose. And you know, we've lost so many times in here, and we didn't play very well in the first half. And I just told them we had to come out and do what we do best. And they play a tremendous defense, and they were sky high, and they got a fine football team. And you know, it was just a great football game. I think the weather really affected both teams as such. We had planned to throw a heck of a lot more. My quarterback told me he just can't grip the ball. He doesn't have control of it. And I'm sure Bobby Bukowski's had the same problem. You know, you saw a couple of knuckleballs he threw. He's a much better quarterback than that. And you know, it's a shame that maybe we could enclose a dome somewhere and play these things, because it's tough playing this type of condition.
Coach, one thing, you platoon 10 out of your 11 players, and of course Eastern was going with about 9 people going both ways. You think that had a factor at the end of the ball game?
I'm very sure that that's a factor in the game. That's why we platoon. We know that we have maybe better athletes, and that's a sacrifice that our kids make. They might be better if they played both ways and all that type of thing, but we just we find where they can help the team the most, and that's where we put them, and they work at it. And I thought our defense did a whale of a job today. They did a super job against a tremendously offensive team. You know, I really thought this was going to be an offensive game. I'm figuring somewhere around 21-14, hopefully it'll be us. And here we are in a nothing, double overtime, 3-0 game. And so often that happens when two strong offensive teams get together. They know each other so well. The defenses just rise to the challenge and just pound on each other. And, you know, they had a couple of goal line stands down there and short yardage situations, and we didn't punch it in. And but that's the ball game, you know. That's the way it goes.
Okay, Coach, I know you want to get in with your team. Again, congratulations. Good luck in the final.
Thank you very much.
Okay, coming over now is the man of the hour, Keith Luchin. Why don't you take a helmet off so everybody can see you, Keith? Tell us little thoughts when you were standing out there by yourself in the last seconds of the ball game when they called that timeout. What was your thoughts?
I was scared. I was just sitting there. Everybody was trying to come up to me. I'm telling them, please, just let me think by myself. They let me alone. Coach came up and looked at the tee. Came over to me, told me to pray for what I've been working for all summer. I did that. He looked at the tee, said it's just a little too...